Take a look at this sign posted here in Alpine. Residents are calling for Robert Fabian, the boyfriend of missing Sul Ross student Zuzu Burke, to come forward with any information regarding her disappearance. When you're walking in tall brush like this, you want to make sure you're scanning the ground around you just in case you run into a rattlesnake. It's something many of us are still dealing with today, shattered windshields on our cars. Now, police say it's important to get it fixed because depending on the damage, getting behind the wheel could be a safety hazard. Good evening. Thanks for joining us on News West 9 Weekend. I'm Chelsey Trahan. Now, this is the bulletproof vest that the fire department is looking into for their personnel. This is something that they would wear to an active shooter situation just in case a police officer or a civilian is hurt. Thousands of pages of personal information found in an open top dumpster like this one. I'm here with Debbie from the Big Spring Area Chamber of Commerce, and she's going to talk about some events that are coming up that you don't want to miss. Their vehicles and their property had been vandalized with red spray paint. Authorities just released the motive in last week's shooting. Police tell us that the 14-year-old student intended to go to school and shoot her 14-year-old stepbrother. A peaceful day in an Odessa neighborhood turned to chaos.
My mom was telling us about the Walmart story.
It started here when police say a former employee stole ammo and shot a round in the store, threatening a staff member and fleeing on foot.
He did leave a sign of pursuit, but he did threaten the officer, threatened suicide by cop.
Police tried to perform a traffic stop, but that led to a chase spanning from East Odessa to here.
So he was driving that way, and all we saw was like all these cop cars come in.
Soraya Ramirez and her friends witnessed the whole thing. The group was outside just a few doors down having a yard sale to raise money for school clothes.
There was like dirt flying everywhere, and like we couldn't really see what was going on.
I was scared because I thought like it was the guy from Walmart, and I heard he had a gun.
Police say Hector Martinez did have a gun, but thankfully no one was hurt. The chase ended peacefully. Martinez was taken into custody and his truck towed away. But residents on Madera are still in shock because they say Martinez never did anything out of the ordinary.
I feel kind of relieved at some point and then like still shaken.
It turns out Martinez is no stranger to being in handcuffs. He has a lengthy rap sheet of stalking, aggravated assault. He's even been arrested in the past for reckless driving. Presley is not your average 10-year-old.
I've won all of these, and I'm sure I have more, I just don't know where.
She competes in rodeos across the Permian Basin, but in a male-dominated sport, Presley knows she's breaking the mold.
Girls can do anything guys can do, and they can do it just as good as they can.
That spirit her parents helped instill in her, but there's always room to learn a few more lessons.
Presley said, "Hey Mom, it's cool, she's a girl."
Not the typical attitude a child has when their parent gets pulled over for speeding.
During that process, my wife said, "Just so you know, my daughter thinks it's cool that you're a female officer." And she said, "Oh, that's nice. Yeah, there's not very many of us."
Presley and her parents didn't expect what the trooper would do next.
She reached in and handed Presley her hat.
I thought that it was cool for her to do that.
For Presley, it's not just a hat, but a symbol of what she can achieve.
That made me feel happy, very inspired. Made me feel like I could do anything.
Presley now has a new addition to her rodeo getup, but also a constant reminder to be herself and to take her life by the reins.
I plan on making good runs every time I wear it. Have good luck and always remember.
She believed that he would kill her, and she often said that it's not if I die, it's when I'll die.
It's been more than a year.
She made everyone feel special.
Since John Nielsen lost his daughter.
Just a lovely person. She was active in charities.
Monica Deming was shot and killed by her ex-boyfriend Brandon Leyva in November of 2015. Before her death, Nielsen says Monica's ex was stalking, harassing, and threatening her.
We're in the process of going to put up cameras outside to try to catch him driving by. She just was afraid to go anywhere.
What Monica didn't know was her ex-boyfriend had a secret. He had 2 previous protective orders against him for domestic violence.
She had no clue of his past.
That's where House Bill 2315 comes in, also known as Monica's Law.
The goal of Monica's Law is to prevent domestic violence through the power of information.
State Representative Brooks Landgraf worked closely with Monica's dad to write a law that would create a public, online, searchable database listing protective orders, something that would have alerted Monica that Leyva had a history of domestic violence.
People have a right, really a right to know what they're getting into with some people.
This law won't bring Monica back, but maybe it can stop someone from getting involved with the wrong person.
The whole family has wanted to share her story with everyone, and just in hopes that maybe this can be prevented and not happen again.
When we pass this bill, it's going to save lives and prevent other families from having to endure such a terrible tragedy.
While many of us are celebrating the 4th of July early this weekend, you should be aware of some potential storms rolling into the basin. We're following news out of El Paso. Authorities are searching for 2 children, and an Amber Alert has been issued. And a kitten named Vegas certainly has some good luck. You've got this big guy here. You probably can't see Emily English is behind this dog. Thank you so much for coming in, Emily. Oh my gosh, so sweet. A suspect is in the hospital this evening after being shot by a Midland County deputy early this morning. Here's a look at where it happened. Officials say they received a 911 call from the Kent Quick store on FM 1788 and Highway 158 just before 5 this morning. Police in North Texas say a 6-month-old baby drowned in the bathtub while her mother was on social media. An Amber Alert issued for a teen missing out of Brewster County has been discontinued, although she is still missing. Investigators are pleading for the release of a 13-year-old girl kidnapped in Lancaster, Texas. So we've had quite a bit of rain this week, and we were just talking about Chris is wearing his rainstorm socks.
Yeah.
And every time he wears these, it rains. So I think Chris is controlling the weather. So is this rain going to stick around going into the work week? Well, here's an idea. Beat the traffic by taking an inner tube to work. Probably won't work here in West Texas, but some people in Colorado are doing it. That story's after the break. A New Mexico judge has ruled a policy banning incarcerated mothers from breastfeeding infants unconstitutional. State District Judge David Thompson issued the ruling in a case brought by Monique Hidalgo, a state prison inmate who had been fighting for the right to breastfeed her 5-week-old daughter. A bill requiring women to purchase extra insurance to cover abortions has passed the state house and now moves to the Senate. The bill would make exceptions only for medical emergencies. 10 states already have laws restricting insurance coverage of abortion in private insurance plans. The Austin Police Department is in the process of parking all 397 of its Ford Explorer police cruisers. They made the announcement Friday, and the process is expected to take until Monday. The move comes after months of complaints about carbon monoxide inside the vehicles.